What was that?
Phantoms, death and strange noises await the team in the West Midlands. Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. This building has almost 800 years of history. Many people have lived, laughed and cried here. It is said that the spirits of many of them still remain. With dark figures, unexplained power cuts and strange voices, we had to investigate the Manor House restaurant. The Manor of West Bromwich is listed in the Domesday Book under the possessions of William Fitz Ansculf, the Baron of Dudley. The manor house was constructed in the late 13th century and has had many residents. It was passed through the heirs of William until 1713, where it was put up for sale due to financial difficulties. Eventually, it fell into a state of disrepair in 1823. In 1836, it was converted into tenements where 3 families lived until the 1880s. These flats concealed the manor house. It was rediscovered whilst under demolition in the 1950s. The manor house has been restored and is now a restaurant.
Imagine what it must feel like when you're in a room and you hear your own name called out. You turn round and there's nobody there. Well, that's exactly what happens in this room, the main bar area. Tonight we're going to conduct a séance and hopefully contact some of the spirits that roam the manor restaurant.
This is the old original manor house of the village of West Bromwich. It's a unique medieval hall house going back to about 1290. So we're talking of over 800 years of habitation on this site. In fact, 800 years of habitation in this building as it is now. But the strange thing about it is that there are plenty of people that have been here, that have visited the place, that have had paranormal experiences. There isn't an awful lot documented about it.
I've experienced feelings round by the bar area, particularly round by the fireplace, and I've heard footsteps above the area of the bar where the fireplace is, and the opposite end of the bar as well, quite heavy footsteps running.
The chapel is now part of the restaurant, and on many occasions lights turn themselves on and off for no apparent reason. Also, a figure of a bearded man has been seen staring out of the windows.
This building for many, many years was totally derelict, but it's now been taken back to its original medieval glory. Renovation, of course, demolition, building work disturbs ghosts, which I think is one of the reasons that things had been seen in the 1960s and the 1970s when it was being done.
This room has recently been opened up, when previously, for many years, it was sealed. Could it be that the present owners have unleashed some kind of paranormal activity, as the spirit of a young girl has been seen, and also an angry presence has been felt?
I've had my name called, footsteps, voices, and the main one, I was working behind the bar the one day, didn't see anybody coming but knew somebody was there, and shouted out, "Are you all right, can I help you?" And as I walked up, they walked off and walked through the fireplace, and all I can remember is a long black jacket. Can't remember anything else, no head, no feet, that's all I can remember.
There's another interesting thing. They have a toilet ghost in the ladies' toilets, seen on many occasions by people, children, a medieval person seen in one of the cubicles. And although people laugh about toilet ghosts, it's surprising how many paranormal occurrences do take place in the toilets.
I think it could be quite a busy night, certainly from my point of view, of sensing things. Whether, of course, we can get them to actually activate will be a completely different thing. I hope we can. There certainly seems to be a lot of presences around, inside and indeed outside the building.
There doesn't seem to be any reports of anything terrible happening that we know of. But I do believe that it's got secrets that it may well unleash tonight.
I do believe this place is haunted. There's no doubt. Not in my mind, anyway.
The baseline test was completed by our paranormal investigator, Phil Wyman. A trigger object was set and a dictaphone was placed in one of the most active rooms. This all looked promising, but did Phil think we were in for a good night?
The main activity here tends to focus on visual apparitions and figures. Those figures include a man with a black beard looking forlornly out the windows here, and also that of a grandmother-type figure who's been described as being in her 80s and is seen mainly by children. Now, this might sound strange, but one of the main places of activity is the ladies' toilets, where figures have been seen, and also children, again, mainly report seeing black shoes poking out from underneath the cubicles. Now, we have to remember that when this building was originally built, that wouldn't have been a toilet at all. Another area of the location that has seen quite a lot of activity is the restaurant area. Now, this used to be part of a chapel, and it's going to be where I'm going to be setting up my cross trigger object for tonight. I'm pretty hopeful that we're going to get something on camera tonight, but who knows, we can never tell.
During the day, the Manor House is a busy restaurant that didn't feel creepy or unusual in any way. Would the atmosphere change as night fell? I had invited medium Derek Okora to join the crew for the rest of the night, in hopes that he would make contact with any supposed spirits that roam this old building. We were all looking forward to the night ahead, but would all that change as we began our investigation at the Manor House restaurant?
Mentally, I'm getting like, as we come into the energy here, is if I've got like, strange as it may sound, a dual impressions. And I know one would, why we're getting it here, I don't know, but a little bit earlier I got it again. I'll quickly tell you the first impressions. And that was of, there was a sickly feeling that started to build up from within with me. And this feeling of heat. And it seems that the heat was getting stronger around me and stronger, and I felt as if I was in a useless situation. And quite honestly, I just felt as if I had flames just coming all around me, engulfing me. We may, as we go through the night on the investigation, find out why the connection is, where we will finally land to get those impressions. But, you know, if we went a little... You know, there's a little girl that runs around here. A little girl. And this little girl, she doesn't stay put in one place. She runs and what have you. But I feel with this little girl, for some reason, as if her impressions are coming to me as if I'm just doing this. Now, these windows here, now my attention is drawn not to so much the window, but I feel as if this little one is just barely tall enough to look out of a window and look down.
What does she look like?
This is a light-haired girl. I feel that she would be probably 3, 4, 5, between that age. Very pretty little thing. And I feel that she would have lost her life around that period of time due to... what's that, Sam? What? OK, that wasn't an illness. OK, to smoke inhalation through a fire.
So that's why you're picking up fire. And when you said
Yes.
this time, what time do you mean?
Oh, gosh, when's that, Sam? I feel as we get closer to the area where there's a very small window, and below that, lower down, where I feel that the fire, that's where I'm drawn to, we will be able to connect the two.
OK.
And the little girl, oh, look, you see, I'm getting quite an elderly woman. Strong set woman, but elderly. And it seems as if like she's, oh God, look at that. Okay. There's a pushing.
What she's pushed?
I feel there's a pushing into flames.
And she pushed the little girl into the flames.
Yeah, but she also was in the flames as well.
Right.
They both lost their lives in the flames.
You say an elderly woman. How old would you say she was?
To me, she'd be late 70s. Probably about, I don't know, 78, 79. Around that age.
Why would she have pushed you? Why would she have done that?
I don't know at this moment, Ev, I really don't. But I feel in the way of doing it as if also this old soul, this old lady, ended up catching fire herself and perished the same way. Oh, you won't believe this. Thank you, Sam. This old lady was the grandmother of the child. She was an actual grandmother of the child. Why would a grandmother do that? Thank you. I feel it'll unfold far, far greater if, and we get to the area which this condition took place.
Do you want to go?
Can we?
Yeah, come on.
Because I feel as we get closer, we'll get to know. Incidentally, while we're up here, there's a lot of sounds in this area. I feel even like a sound of screeching that takes place here. And that screeching is caused by a spirit person, again, who's not grounded, but comes back here in torment of what he did. Can we go down there? Into that place? Are we allowed to go in there? Down there?
All right.
Because it seems a lot of these noises and stuff is happening and coming, filtering from that level.
The area to which Derek had been drawn was a side building containing some of the artefacts excavated during the renovation of the house. Would the presence of these objects bring us any closer to uncovering the dark secrets of the manor house? Derek had already picked up on the deaths of an old woman and a little girl by fire, as well as the presence of a male soul in torment. Would he be able to give us the names for these spirits and tell us why they still roam the building?
I was aware a little bit earlier on, and still am now, with the residual energy of a person who was, first of all, struck down in this area, found themselves in a lying position, and I feel, just, if I can use that word, rendered unconscious, and was actually, the person who did this had full intentions of not just rendering the person unconscious, but to actually do them naturally bodily harm. In other words, wanted to kill them, kill that person.
Right.
And I feel like I'm getting the energy now, as if a feeling as if this other person did this here and took away the physical of the person, and quite simply, the only way I can describe it is just like cut away and chopped and what have you, and like a dismemberment of a body.
Who was this person that
person,
committed the murder?
I feel the person who actually did this was a man, a male, who had, in clothing, was heavily covered up. It's like a cape, gown, whatever. And I feel a very, very gaunt-looking, very drawn-looking soul. I am aware, however, now of the shoes or the footing, and it seems to, whether I'm describing this, it's like as if he's got a buckle across these shoes, but they weren't shoes, they were like a boot, but they were, most of the boot was covered up. But I'm very aware, for some reason, of these big buckles around my feet. It's like as if at one point he's looking down as he rendered this to the person unconscious, thinking what he's going to do. And I feel, without a doubt, the cutting up of a physical torso, cutting up, and, taken away. And there's an area in which this person's remains, I feel, is still about. And it's not been discovered, even to this day. The person was rendered unconscious and whilst in that state was dragged off the physical, out there. And then I feel, in fact, I could be led to it, where this cutting up and the chopping up of the physical, the torso.
Is this inside the building that this happened, are you saying?
I feel that, no, not actually inside. I feel the person was trapped in this area, rendered unconscious, physically dragged.
Well, let's go out
Through
and
there.
see where you
Okay.
feel you're drawn to.
Now, as we come out in this area, I feel as if I'm so strongly drawn to this person whose body was cut and what have you. But whilst we're here, because we've come into these energies, I want you to look up there.
Oh, yeah.
See, there's a window.
Yeah.
I'm just drawn up to there. And as if, I would say, this little girl that I was picking up earlier
you
on.
mentioned the window, didn't you?
Yeah, up there.
Right.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised that if someone was either out working here or what have you, at times they'd look up, they'd probably see it in that window.
Yeah.
And there's another window, a smaller window in that, where she gets seen as well, I feel. She moves to two places. But I feel, you know, I'm under this area here.
This is where you're saying the remains are?
Yeah, I feel going back here. I feel we're in this area.
So you're saying if the owners, you know, at whatever time were to dig this area up, they would find human remains?
I really do, yeah.
With all the lights switched off in the building, the whole place took on a different feel. Derek led us to the bedchamber, where once again he was getting the psychic impressions of flames, and he was not the only one.
I would just say, for some reason, again, I'm getting this feeling, this essence of, again, for some reason, the flames, OK, that I got earlier. Why it's transported to here, I don't know at this moment in time, but I want to...
Do you know, I feel really scared.
Yeah, well, I feel that your feelings that you're getting here now, it's like your psychic hackles being alarmed and alerted to this atmosphere.
I can't stop looking down there,
Yeah.
where we've just come from.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
well,
just
expecting
a black
something to-
void, isn't it? It's
yeah.
just completely
but
dark.
there would be absolute movement coming up from below.
Is Sam able to give us a name for the old woman?
Hold on, come on a second. Who? Say it again, Sam, as you're asking. Sorry,
Yeah,
Phil.
a second.
Right. The little girl that perished within the flames, she wasn't pushed, she wasn't pushed. Now we're in this atmosphere. I feel that it was like there was an accident, it was accidental. It was like too close to it. You know, this was a fireplace. It was not. The fire began at the fireplace.
Right.
And because the little girl who's fallen, slipped, and I feel this older lady, little girl's called Emily.
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 That's strange you should mention that.
Why?
Because the staff here have nicknamed one of the presences Emily.
Well, the little girl's Emily.
Right, OK.
Any surname?
Can you give me the surname of the... You know, and the older lady, the elderly lady, thank you, Sam, he's just given me Sarah. Sarah.
And is that, you said, is that still the grandmother?
Grandmother to this child. She was trying to save her. By her going forward. I got this feeling, sometimes spirit people do that to me, in a gesture. And I thought, just for them, and I thought, how can a grandmother, you know...
But she wasn't
trying to save her. And here, that's where the fire started. The engulfing of the flames and what have you. And from the physical torso, then the surrounding area, and it caught... And there was a big fire.
So
Can
how...
I just, can I just say something? Since we've been here, I've got this feeling on my hand, and it is getting worse, and it feels like... And I know people would say, oh, it's psychological, but I feel like I've been burnt on my hand, just where my little finger is, down the side here, onto my wrist, and it feels like someone's poured, like boiling hot water, just there, and it's so tender.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is or
Okay.
why.
Right. Well, often this occurrence takes place. It's a natural occurrence. You're a female. These horrible things happen to two females, one very young and one very elderly, and you're walking through the residual energy. Now, it's bound to attach. You're bound to take a little bit of that residual energy of what actually happened in that experience, and it won't stay with you for, you know, forever and a day, but you are witnessing an experience of picking up from that residual energy. That's what I feel. It may, as we move about, go to what we call a higher pitch, where, you know, and then it will subside. It can't stay with you all the time.
As we made our way to the sealed room, the crew began to feel tense and uneasy.
I feel more scared in this room than the other for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not too sure why, but it certainly makes you feel, you know, makes you feel quite nervous, I think, coming into it.
I haven't been very comfortable up here, I must admit, since we first came up.
Yeah.
And I've, in this room especially, I've got quite a headache.
Yeah.
And I mean, earlier when I came in, for some reason I got this angry feeling for no reason. I don't like it in here. I feel like I'm being watched.
What about you, Stuart?
I know lately I've been suffering from a bad back, but it's been fine all day. It's not really bothered me. But since I've come in, over the last couple of minutes, I've got pains all the way up down the side of my spine and all the way down to my pelvis, which are quite bad. So, and that's just since I've walked in now.
Again, Derek, would that be what you're talking about? We're picking up residual
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, whilst we're talking now, I'd like to point this out here. The only way I can take it as well is that at certain times, if one of the staff and whatever were in this area, they would hear very, very, very strong noises above. Which, if you were down the steps where we've come from, you would think the noises were coming from here. But they're taking place above and giving the impression that it's happening in here. Say that. Go on, repeat it to me. I'm getting a surname given to me, and it's plain and simple, Clark.
Who's that connected to?
Who's that connected to, Sam? Well, all he's given me is Clark is responsible for up here.
Unbeknownst to Derek, earlier in the day, Carl, Phil and Richard had ventured up into the attic, where they discovered a fireplace and a small window.
It's another chimney. So there's a chimney coming up from down below.
And this is just in front of it.
And you can feel the draft, yeah. And this is a chimney for here, and it's... Wow, yeah, it's been bricked up. But this is a chimney which joins to the big chimney.
This suggests to us that this area would once have been living quarters, so Derek was definitely on the right track. So far, our night seemed to have got off to a promising start. The question now was, would the spirits detected by Derek make themselves known to us? As usual, we split up into small groups so that we could investigate the building thoroughly. My group decided to conduct a séance, as both mediums, David and Derek, thought this could create enough energy to generate activity for us to catch on camera. Whilst we set up, Carl and Stuart had gone to the sealed room, where unexplained noises and footsteps were being experienced on a regular basis.
It's nice and quiet now. Can't hear any of the crew.
Can't hear anything.
No, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, you can't hear anything. No creaks. Oh, it's just deathly quiet.
Someone move the table then. Did somebody move the table?
No, I didn't move it.
Do you feel that? There was a slight nudge. You just knocked on the table then?
No, I didn't.
Is anyone's feet touching the leg or
No, mine are under my chair.
down to the chair?
Did
Mine
you
are
not
under
just
the
hear
chair.
that knock there?
I had
heard
an
that.
ulcer.
I thought-
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me. Not me.
Okay. Look, I just heard a little knock on the
I
table.
did, I heard it.
I feel a slight nudge. A real slight nudge.
If you're with us, little Emily, please come around the circle of love. You're most welcome. Try in whatever little way that you can.
What's that?
That's me. I feel weird. I feel really strange.
Yeah, I do.
I feel. I just feel. I feel like I did that time.
Do you?
Yeah, that we had the séance, and I started to feel just my mood changed. I feel very warm inside, though. Is this the little girl? Is it the little girl that's
She's close by, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like she. I don't know why, but I get the impression, and I just got this image of her dancing around and touching each one of us, and just literally skipping around us.
That's exactly what she's doing.
Is it?
Yeah. Mm.
But it's, I don't know why. I never visualise things like that, but I do now. I don't know why. I feel anxious now.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a spirit of a little girl in this room with us here? Please try to make contact with us. Please use your energy. Please use our energy. Have you moved?
Stop.
I've gone cold, very cold.
Icy cold. There's something here, Carl. There is something in this room.
I'm getting a real bad headache as well now. Right on my temple, on my left side.
Something came from that corner over there. Now the temperature in this room has dropped considerably. I'm going to sit here, and if there is something here, we're going to catch it. Right, let's carry on.
Alright, just relax. Alright, just relax. Alright, just relax.
Do you want to try and talk to us? If you do, try and knock on the table where we're sitting. What's the matter?
Okay.
Kat?
What's up?
What?
Something just grabbed me.
I didn't say that again.
Something grabbed me underneath on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like something tugged.
I'm really shaking. I feel really weird. I feel really, really strange.
This is because I feel what's happening now. Even though the child's essence is around us, we have been joined, it appears, by a male.
Yeah.
And then it's come very close. And now the little girl is, like, jumped out. She is aware of him. And he's doing his little round around us now at the moment, looking at us.
Are there any spirit people that can hear my voice and see our energy? And you want to understand why you are still housed here? Now is the time. Please try and communicate.
No, it was behind the...
Behind the bar.
Please try and communicate. Please try and communicate.
God, I ache all over. My head is killing me now. Oh, I don't feel good.
I feel lightheaded in here. I feel relaxed and nervous at the same time, but very lightheaded. If you are here, please show yourself. We know you are here. You're making various sounds and noises. If that is you, well done. There you go. Yeah. Can you please do that again for us? That noise. It sounds like scratching on the panelling. If that is you, well done. If that's you scratching on the panelling, can you please continue to make that sound? Brilliant. I'm so excited about that.
Please try to show us that you're here. Yeah.
Can you please make the sounds louder than what you're making them at the moment, so that our camera can pick them up? I heard that.
That sounded like footsteps.
Yeah, it did. Was that you? Were they your footsteps we just heard? We heard something on that far corner over there. It sounded like one footstep or two. If that's you, can you please do that again for us? We know you are here. I've got a feel, I feel right now as though we're being watched.
So the fuck do I? I really fucking do.
I do feel as though we're being watched, and it's in a nice way. I don't think it's in a nasty or violent way.
You feel that's a nice way? I feel completely the opposite. I really do feel completely the opposite.
If that was you, can you please do that again for us, please? Thank you. There you go. Thank you for that, we heard that.
I'm sorry, Stuart, I was really fucking thinking
No,
that.
just stay,
No, I'm gonna stay.
Just stay.
Noises were definitely being heard on the upper floors, and Carl and Stuart were unable to ascertain what or where they were coming from. It was time for my group to take over from where the boys had left off. Hopefully, Richard, John, Derek and myself would also witness the same noises.
What was that?
Derek's found the priest hole.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a priest hole, yeah.
Can you get in?
Yeah, well, you can climb it.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Where does it go up to? Does it go up? It's just an alcove. I can't really.
On the right, you see.
Yeah, careful. There's a little. I think it's just a bit of rubbish in the bottom.
Isn't it cold in here? Jesus. Hey?
What the freaking hell's that?
Did it fall off the latch? Yeah. I think it's just the
Did
wind.
it?
There's no wind up there.
Well, it's closed now. If it does it again.
I don't like it in here.
I feel pretty uncomfortable in here. It's definitely cold, isn't it? I mean, it's very, very cold.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable, yeah.
I have to tell you though, up there is a fan that's bringing air in here.
Yes.
Or letting out, and it might make a noise as well, which might be adding to the.
There again.
Right.
It has gone again.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh, right, okay.
It is. That's twice.
Richard, lock it or.
Okay. Don't put the right. Just leave it as it is.
Right. Now that's latched. That's on. Look.
Right. Okay.
Everybody can see it. That's latched.
Okay.
You can actually feel.
Shh. What was that?
Yeah, I heard that again.
It's here.
That wasn't your foot again. I heard something down there. I heard.
Did you?
Yeah. Is anyone down there?
Can you tap on something, bang on something? Walk up these stairs, anything. I know it's asking a lot, but please, please try so hard for us. What was that? Did you hear that?
What? Like gravel?
Shh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shh, that's what it sounded like.
The investigation at the Manor House restaurant was becoming more intriguing by the minute. Little did we know we were about to get the fright of our lives.
What was that?
After hearing several more noises from the staircase, we decided to go down and investigate. All we found was a locked door leading to the courtyard, so we moved on to investigate the ladies' toilet, where various apparitions have been sighted.
What was that? John?
I don't know.
John, what was that?
It's all right, Timmy. Don't worry.
Stand still, folks. What the fuck was
don't
that?
Don't worry.
Hang on. You're right.
A perfect explanation, Evie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tape recorder.
It wasn't spiritual. It wasn't.
Tape recorder?
No. If you come around, I'll show you. Come here.
You're right.
Now, was that door ajar?
No, I closed it.
Well, it was ajar.
Come on, Evie. You're right. You're right.
Something spat at you.
I know. I heard something. It was something.
Spat at him.
The door was
What the
ajar.
fuck? I know.
Something spat
No.
at him.
Okay, now look, there's a machine up here. Does
No.
that spit out any of this fragrance?
Of course it's not going to spit anything out, is it?
Well, okay.
Can we get out?
Hang on.
No, look. Have you got a torch or something? Yes, I put
A bit. Don't worry. Look, it is quite possible. I know that scared the shit out of me. But
Can you smell that around there now? That's pumped out a fragrance, isn't it?
Yes, it.
Yeah. You're right.
We were not only embarrassed but also disappointed about what had just occurred. One thing it did do was show just how easy it is to overreact when everyday occurrences are interpreted as paranormal in the heat of the moment. Having gained their composure, John and Derek decided to venture up to the sealed room once again, accompanied by Rachel, Phil and Kath, to see if they could record more of the mysterious noises that have been heard there throughout the night.
Well, we're here. Whoever is here, spirit person, come on. Come on. Listen above, listen. Come on, do it again. Emily, if that's you, come across. Let's say you're walking across.
It does seem quiet now, do you know?
Very, absolutely. When we first came in, it was getting quite a bit of stuff there.
Yeah. It's when we first arrived and stuff.
Meanwhile, Tom, Richard and David had been investigating the museum room.
Hello? Stuart? Hello? What was that?
I was hearing footsteps as well.
I heard footsteps. I just thought it was Stuart.
Not only did I hear footsteps, but I saw someone go past here.
Now I swear to you.
You saw the light change
I saw the light change underneath this door.
I heard them too.
You heard it?
Absolutely.
I definitely had footsteps.
I mean, I'm not, there's no bullshitting here or anything else. I saw it as well. And it went this way.
Towards the
It went this, I mean...
We shall ask Stuart.
Stuart? Where are you? Sorry? Where? Oh, you've not just walked past, you've not just walked under here, have you? No. Under this archway where we are? No. Definitely not. It's going the wrong way anyway. Right, you heard it. David heard it.
I definitely heard it.
It went this way. And it went, so I watched it go this way. There's no... Bloody hell.
I heard that. I mean, I assumed it was Stuart walking past.
No, he's out there.
And de-rigging and
and if anything, it would have walked this way.
The majority of the crew had witnessed audible activity, particularly in the recently uncovered room in the south wing. Although a certain amount of naturally occurring creaks and thuds are to be expected in any old building, many of the sounds witnessed appeared to be footsteps coming from the attic above, an area which had been explored earlier in the day and would have been inaccessible to anyone during the night. The locked-off camera in the chapel had failed to capture any evidence of spirit activity. I, however, had filmed this light anomaly in the sealed room, and various noises were caught on tape that seemed to come from the stairs. Richard Felix was convinced that he had witnessed a dark figure passing the door of the museum room, and Tom, our sound recordist, did hear footsteps. John Dibley, who is normally quite sceptical, believed he witnessed the presence of a little girl during the séance.
I have had the most fantastic time at the Manor House. Lots and lots of paranormal activity, and in my opinion, the funniest thing ever, because I have this thing about toilet ghost stories. And there we all were in the toilets, and it just goes to show how easy fear can spread. We were absolutely terrified, is the only word that I can say. But it was a very, very good event. And I thought the night was over. That was enough for me. It really was. And then I went off with David Wells and Tom, and we got what I believe to be paranormal activity. There we were, talking away, and then all of a sudden, someone walks past the door. Now, all three of us heard it, and I actually saw the light being, for want of a better word, obliterated by the footsteps that went past the door. In my opinion, the Manor House restaurant is definitely haunted. Come on.
There are issues with hearing noises at haunted locations, especially old locations where there's wood in the construction. At various points in the evening, the temperature may go up or down, and this could cause the wood to expand or contract, thereby creating popping or creaking sounds. Now, in a haunted location, those popping and creaking sounds may be interpreted as footsteps or other noises of spirits. The knocking that the crew hear sitting around the seance table is not unusual in this sort of environment. As early as the 1840s, when seances first began, people were using the knocking sounds to communicate with spirits.
Do you feel there's a slight nudge?
There are a lot of explanations for what the knocking may be, and the most obvious one is that perhaps somebody is unconsciously knocking on the table. In this particular clip, we only hear a knock once, and so somebody maybe with a ring on their finger has tapped it without realising, and it's been picked up by the boom mic.
I was hearing footsteps as well.
I heard footsteps. I just thought it was Stuart.
Not only did I hear footsteps, but I saw someone go past here. Now I swear to you.
You saw the light change under
I saw the light change underneath this door.
In this clip, Richard Felix apparently sees feet go past the door at the same time that other members of the crew hear footsteps. In terms of the audible phenomena, the actual footsteps, what we may be getting is just an aspect of the house. So we may be getting the wood reacting to temperature change. The actual feat that Richard Felix sees is very, very interesting. There's obviously nothing fraudulent at work here, because otherwise on the floor outside we would have seen wet footprints, because there are other wet areas around this location. So we know it's not fraudulent. However, what Richard may have been seeing is the light change, shows shadows behind the door, which could have been caused by somebody else in the courtyard or in another area of the hotel walking past a light, and that could have caused the shadow. It's a possibility.
Are the inhabitants of the past 800 years still living at the manor house? Perhaps they see us as shadowy figures they do not understand. If so, do they resent the intrusion? Until next time, sleep tight.
Living TV psychics Colin Fry and Tony Stott will attempt to contact spirits in front of an audience and live at the London Palladium here on Tuesday at 8. Next tonight and after the break, it's CSI.